How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the No Time to Explain podcast. And today we have another special guest here with us, Dylan Acosta.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up?
So, Dylan and I have been friends since high school. Yeah, we're just going to jump into the questions for today. Quick little, just get into it. So, I already said your name, but who are you and what do you do?
Well, as Justin's already introduced me, my name is Dylan Acosta. I currently go to school in the glorious state of South Carolina, and currently I'm getting my major in cyber operations. I am currently a sergeant in the National Guard and hoping to be an officer one day in 2 years. So that's just a little bit about me.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Yeah, all right. Great friend you got.
But okay, so yes, Dylan, going to the army, to the military. So how did we all meet? We asked everyone the same first three questions. How did we meet? So how did you meet me? And then we'll go
Just branch off.
So I met Justin because we went to the same high school together, and we were in the same program, the IB program.
Oh yeah.
And we shared a class together, and I think we got grouped up for a project, and that's how I officially met him and started talking to him. Other than that, we had mutual friends, and then we both kind of grew our friendship because we both played baseball at the time, and most importantly, we played Fortnite together. So
Fortnite. That is true. That I forgot about that. We used to all play Fortnite together.
Fortnite during the COVID
and
times.
then later on, after knowing Justin for a little bit, I got introduced to Samson and Hunter through probably video games, and
Yeah.
it turned into just hanging out with them, going to the courts, going out to eat, and just hanging out.
Oh my God.
That's a good one right there. But yeah, so so you met them through the courts and through playing, and then we met through high school and stuff like that. But I want to talk more about your college experience because you're not a regular college boy.
The college experience.
The college experience, but not the college experience. So Dylan actually goes to the Citadel, which is in South Carolina.
Yep, South Carolina.
South Carolina. And so tell us a little about the Citadel. So how and why did you decide to go there? And if you had to describe the Citadel to someone who has never gone in a few words or in a sentence, what would you say?
All right, so I go to a school called the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina. Beautiful school. It's a nice school, but it's not normal school. It is a military college, so everyone there is in a military environment. We dress up, with collared shirts or army uniforms and our army camo patterns, and take classes based on military ethics. And overall, we kind of put on a little show for South Carolina every Friday. That's the basic gist of it. But to describe in a sentence or two, someone that's never been there, it's a road less traveled, and it'll surely be an opportunity of a lifetime.
An opportunity of a lifetime. Huh?
Oh yeah. Weren't you in a promotional video too or something like that? I saw you were in a video where they were shaving your head.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's the only piece of media I've ever shown up in.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That's the only one?
I haven't been in the school photographer pictures. I showed up in one picture, I think, but that was
funny.
it was an event, and they took a picture of every single group. But besides that, so one of the first things they do when you get there, so you move into your room, you meet your roommate, and then they go and take your indoctrination. I guess the first thing you do is they take you to the barbershop and they shave your head. And they have a video clip of me shaving my head in the barbershop, and everyone looks like having a grand old time in there because they are.
So, do they give you a nice 1 to 2 fade on the sides,
Yeah,
or
they,
like a little bit off the top?
yeah,
Or how
so-
do they do it?
So you sit down in the chair and they ask you like, what would you want? And you're like, oh, let me get a medium fade, just about like half inch on top. And then they take off the guard and they just go like up, down, left to right. So kind of like mowing the lawn. And then you realize you look. The fun part is you're looking in the mirror while this is happening.
Oh,
So
God.
you really get to see like all your hair just
damn.
buzzed away.
Do they actually like shape you up, or do they just kind of?
It depends. So I got lucky and I got shaped up because like what happened when he was like buzzing my hair, I stood up and he was like, hold on, sit back down, let me clean you up a little bit. And he got like between the ears and all that stuff. But like other people, like they just gotta get like 90% of the hair off you. So like they'll have like strands of hair that are like just still long.
No.
Yeah, and you're still bald, and it's not a good look.
Was it you that told me a story about like some guy that had like a big afro or something like that, and they just went right down the middle? Was that you, or was that something else?
I
I
mean,
remember.
it probably was me, but like that probably happens like all the time over there.
Fair enough.
We had a kid show up last year who had like long hair like to his shoulders, and like I remember like seeing his face, like he was like. He told us later, he was like, that was the closest he came to quitting, like right before getting his hair cut. And it was
You
just
can't
funny.
quit now. I mean, if you have too much long hair,
You'd
and
be
you quit
surprised.
after-
You'd be surprised how many people quit after getting their head shaved.
Really?
It's a lot.
Wow.
Imagine if you can't even get your head shaved. Imagine actually doing the military stuff. Like, no, that's not for me. But you moved on to a good point. So the reason they shave your head is because you're going into knob year.
So, a little bit about knob year is almost like, so the easiest way to explain this is think of it like a frat, where like your first year as a freshman, you're like kind of like pledging, I guess, for like the frat. And then this sense, the frat is like the school.
The military.
Yeah, the school itself. So your first year, it's like the 9 long months. So the first 9 months you're on campus, you're considered we call them knobs because when we shave their head, they look like doorknobs. And so knob years, you walk around and you basically have like rights of a gum on the piece of like on the side of the road, and everyone that's been there, your upperclassmen could tell you what to do. They could like boss you around, and you basically have like little to no rights besides like breathing and maybe sleeping, which you don't really. So
There's a lot of things that happen that we can't really talk about because they'll probably ban us. But we'll try and tell you what we can, because I mean knob year is not easy, especially being a knob. But then you also hear these stories about what happens to kids and whatnot, and you're like, where's the police?
Yeah, it's not too easy.
So just kind of piggybacking off that. So what was your experience like how was it?
So my experience, like they tell you all these things before you go, and you're like in your head, you're like mentally like, okay, I can handle this, and then you show up for the first day and you realize you're like, holy shit. And it hits you like pretty much like there's 2 parts where it hits you. One where you get your head shaved, and that's like the part that everyone sees, and then it's the first day when you go to bed and you're laying in bed and you're like, oh, this is real. This is not
This
like
is my life now.
It's not like a weird dream I'm having. I'm here. I have to go spend the night here, and I can't go back home.
I remember when you became a knob and your parents went with you. Your mom posted a picture on Facebook of you walking up the stairs with your freshly shaved head. I remember that.
Yeah.
My mom found that on Facebook.
Yeah, getting your head shaved is an experience.
A humbling experience.
I see TikToks all the time like, buzz your hair, that's in style. Been there and done that. No, don't do that. Keep your hair.
I feel like I'd be afraid to buzz my head only because, like, what if my head's shaped weird?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what if your head's like, I don't know, like you have a little like
shaped,
dump,
yeah.
like a little bump on your head or something, or you have like an indent that you don't
Like
even
that
know
one
about.
streamer with
Yeah.
the head in the headset
Oh.
indent.
God.
Shaving the head is supposed to symbolize like, oh, you're leaving your past life behind.
Mhm.
So doing that is like, like the person you were is like gone.
That's kind of like similar to like even just like a religious standpoint with like baptism.
It's like that, but
It's-
like
yeah, it's all
it is it's like a baptism, but like baptism by like kind
I
of fire.
baptize you in the
Mhm.
name of the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
But yeah, and then you know, you have your typical days and all that stuff of you know, like you have to wake up early, go work out.
How early do you have to wake up?
Typically I wake up around 5:15 every day and go work out at 5:30. Get back to my room roughly 6:30, 7 o'clock, and then kind of start my day at 8 and have my first class around like, you know, 8 or 9 o'clock depending on the day.
That was during Knob year, or is this now?
This is every day.
Oh.
Like this is knob year now, going into next year. But knob year, you get up just a little bit early, and your first week there, it's called now Challenge Week, but we called it Hell Week when my year was there, and so you go the first 2 days, you're kind of just learning like where everything kind of is, and like how like things kind of operate. And then Monday morning at 4:30 in the morning, they you get in I guess like woken up by, they're called your cadre, and your cadre are basically like your like like is a pledge matcher.
Your pledge master or
Yeah,
something?
they're basically like
Your boss.
yeah bosses, and it's a very lovely experience. You know, it's very like, you know, happy-go-lucky time. Definitely not, you know, very loud. You have no idea what's going on. Not mean at all. And then that morning, they're like, you are now basically a freshman of the Citadel. And then all hell breaks loose, literally.
Like,
And then the next week is an absolute grand of a time. An absolute barn buster.
barn buster.
Yep.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, didn't you tell me that they take away your clocks too during Hell Week?
Yeah, they take away any type of clock. So, like, they take away your phone, your iPad, your laptop. They take away your alarm clocks and, like, your watches. That way, like, you have no idea what time it is.
You just exist.
That was the worst part. That was the worst part. Because you'd be in a classroom, and you're like, I have no idea if it's 4:30 or 2:30,
That's
and
like-
that's a big difference.
That's like psychological torture.
Oh, it is. It's supposed to be. And yeah, so they take away like all forms of communication, time. You're basically like, you're living on the whims of like other people. If they want you to eat, you'll go eat. If not, you're just gonna stay there.
It wasn't eating like a problem too. Like they would force you like stare straight. and
Yeah,
only-
so over there they emphasize like posture and like, I guess, mannerisms. And one of the things you have to do is like you have to sit in the front 3 inches of your chair. Your back can't be on the back of the chair. You have to like square your meals, which is like raising a fork to your mouth and back down again. And like for each time that you want to eat, you can't look down at your food. You can't talk. You can't request more food. It's you just get served whatever, and you're like, this is what I'm gonna eat today.
And if you don't eat in time, then what? They take your food away.
Oh well.
Oh, well. Oh, too bad.
Oh well. So, and just to clarify, I've been on both sides. Everyone goes through knob year, and I was a selected few to be cadre. So, it's crazy to see both sides. So,
Yeah, and we can get into more on that in a second. But what was one of your like biggest struggles during like just not during like Hell Week in general, but during Knob year? Like, what was one of your biggest struggles?
so probably the biggest struggle that like anyone could tell you is like sleep. So
That's fair.
obviously like you're not sleeping a lot. You have to
Yeah.
wake up pretty early. But as a knob, you're kind of paranoid a little bit because if anyone walks in your room, you have to like stand up and greet them. And like basically like you can't like they can't just like walk in your room and be like, oh, what's up, man? Like that doesn't happen. So like that whole year you're kind of paranoid. You can't take a nap. You're not allowed to take a nap throughout the day. And because of that, you're very exhausted, very tired, and you have to kind of like dig deep to be like, all right, caffeine is going to be my number one best friend from like moving forward. Like I didn't really drink caffeine before going there, and now I like needed to like live.
Crack.
Yeah, I'm addicted to caffeine. But the hardest thing for me was definitely like the lack of sleep. I got selected for like by the Army to do this like kind of like fitness program, and every day that we didn't have like school PT, the whole school did it. We would have to wake up at 4:45 and be in the gym at 5 o'clock, and then we would work out and same thing, be ready by like 7:30 each morning. So the like latest I would sleep in was 5:15. That was and like the latest I would go to bed is like probably like you're not allowed to go to bed until 11 o'clock at night. So, and even then, if anyone walks in your room past 11 o'clock, A, they're not supposed to be there, but B, you still have to stand up and greet them and all that stuff. So I'd be going to bed at like 12 o'clock, waking up at 4:45 regularly, and just being like, time to start the day. And that was definitely the hardest part, because you would get to the weekend and sleep for like 18 hours. So you were like naturally exhausted, but that's when like you have to push yourself a little bit more.
Interesting. So for those that don't know what the Citadel looks like, so you guys stay in, what are they called?
So I guess the equivalent of our rooms would be like a dorm building or an apartment building, but we call them the barracks. And like if you've never seen it, like go look it up, but it looks like a medieval castle in the middle of like Charleston. Like you'll see like normal houses, white stone, and just like medieval castle looking buildings, and you're like, this looks so out of place. Like, you ever heard of those like Renaissance fairs where they like pop up? Yeah. It looks like we're having like one permanent Renaissance fair over there, and then we're in like the middle of Charleston.
I remember when I went down there with your parents. I didn't know what to expect, but it actually looks really cool. It's bigger than I thought. Actually, I take that back. It's smaller than I thought.
Yeah, it's really small.
It's smaller than I thought, but the tiles is like, it's like red and white tiles, and then each barrack is split into four, what are they called?
Companies.
4 companies. So then you're in Bravo.
I'm in Bravo, yep.
So each company has like their own little like nickname thing, right?
Yeah.
So yours is Bravo Beach.
Yeah.
So why is it Bravo Beach? Like, what does that mean?
I don't know. We were just told that when we showed up, like, we're the beach because we're Bravo, and we were like, all right, we're gonna roll with that. It's weird. Like, it's basically like, imagine getting selected to a frat, but it's completely random, and then you're gonna make that frat.
It's like Hogwarts.
Yeah. it's yeah, but you don't get to choose. My mom wanted me to be in November because my birthday is in November.
Oh, yeah.
And like I got lucky because one of my best friends over there, he's in Delta, which is like literally across my the rooms. So like whenever like I have a question about something or I want to hang out with him, like I could just walk there. Like it's not
That's nice.
It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So and you get to know like a bunch of people, like especially like after knob year, like you get to meet like the seniors, the juniors, and the sophomores like way more in depth and like actually get to see the human side of them.
It's gotta be like a bonding experience since you're all going through like the same thing.
Well, and that's the cool thing. So like everyone from the seniors that like just graduated like a couple weeks ago to like the freshmen that are coming in like 2 or 3 months, everyone goes through the same process.
Yeah.
So we all have that shared kind of bond that like makes the school the school.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool. It's just, like it's not for the faint of heart, know. You can't.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's not going to be easy. It's like there's some days that are like, all right, you got the hang of it, and other days that are really going to put you down in the dumps. But, as long as you kind of power through it,
yeah.
I think anyone could do that.
So at the end of your knob year, you have something called Rec Day.
Yeah.
Correct. So what is Rec Day? What's the significance and what happens after Rec Day? Like, what's that whole thing?
So Rec Day is after 9 months, Rec Day is almost like the selection day in like a typical frat or like a college, and it's called Recognition Day, and the knobs are at the time, they go through this like the whole day going through class, as normal, and then roughly around 3 o'clock when class is in, they come back to the barracks, and then they have basically like 2 hours, 3 hours of like physical training, kind of like team bonding, it's kind of hard. It's hot. It's like a lot of physical work. You're running everywhere. You're out of breath, and it doesn't seem to end. And at the end of it, they play the same song. We have bagpipes when you become a knob, and they play the same bagpipes the second before you become recognized or like no longer a knob. And then they get on the intercom and they're like, "You're no longer a knob," essentially. And,
You're now a human
it's
being.
over. And you're like, "Wow, that was something."
Yeah. Because I remember I went up there to see your rec day. And
He saw me sucking wind everywhere.
it was crazy, though, because as a spectator, I mean, you get to see everything that goes on. So it's like a whole event. It's kind of like a sporting event almost. There's a ton of people there.
Yeah.
They might not even be like parents of the kids. It's just people there watching from Charleston.
There's alumni that come that like they have no one there that like is like family, and they'll just come and watch it because like
Yeah.
it's an event.
Yeah. So whole bunch of people there. It was nice though because I got to walk around and see the campus. I saw the mascot, but we'll talk about that in a second. But the whole rec day experience is like, I don't know, it was crazy because you guys ran in from your barracks to this field.
Yeah, so we ran from the barracks to the football field. I remember getting to the football field like already out of breath, and I was like, "This isn't really gonna go well, is it?" And then there's like different stations, and each station's like pretty hard, and you need to do it like a buddy or like basically like your class, right?
Yeah.
So in my case, I'm the class of 25, and the class of 22, 23, and 24 were all helping us get through it, right? And it's like all the upperclassmen that like bitched you out all year are now like kind of like encouraging you to like keep going because you're almost done.
Yeah.
And one of the worst stations we did was like we get to this like tire flipping station, and it was like, all right, and like this one upperclassman that I look up to, he takes like 3 of us, right, and we were like his favorite, and he brings us to the side and made us do like burpees for like 10 minutes
I remember
straight.
seeing that.
And it was
I remember that.
I remember thinking to myself, I was like, I don't deserve this at all. It was exhausting. And yeah, it's hot. Everyone's sweating.
It was bad that
Yeah.
day.
Like you don't stand still for like 2 hours straight.
It's constant.
And you're like yelling everywhere. So like there's not a second you have of like, all right, 5-minute break, guys.
Yeah.
Like
The
no.
only way you got water was you had a camel pack on
Yeah,
your back.
we had a Camelback, and like, but yeah, I didn't clean my Camelback, so everything that came out of there was mold.
Oh,
So
God.
I could not drink water for like the whole event, and it sucked. But it was fun. It was like that was like the greatest fun I've ever had, like ever. Like
It was crazy. I remember there was one station where they had like a giant log and they're carrying it on their shoulders and they have to go back and forth on each shoulder.
yeah,
Okay. And then they would after doing that for like a solid 10 to 15 minutes, they'd switch again, and the next station they would have to crawl under each other while holding a plank. And then they would have to crawl under when they were the last person to go to the front of the line. They did that for like another 10 to 15
that burns your
minutes.
triceps. You wouldn't believe like being in like a forward position like that. Like after like 5 minutes, you're like, you're like you would want to do a push up because like you're begging to move at that point.
Yeah. And then after that station, there was the carrying station where you put someone on your shoulders.
Yeah.
And you carried them, or you would have to carry them like from the back.
Yeah, like a dead man drag.
Yeah, like a dead man drag. There was another station where you had these like dumbbells and you were carrying them around. Oh no, the ammo boxes. Or whatever they were.
Yeah.
God.
Like these ammo boxes. And
I'm
would
glad
carry
you
them.
remember this because I don't remember a lot from that day. I just remember being exhausted.
There's these
And I was
ammo-
like, when is this going to end?
The ammo boxes, you would carry them around, you would do like a little lap or something, and you come back, and then somebody else would go. There was a push-up station, I remember that. And then after all that was done, after you went through every station once,
You're not done yet.
you would go, like you would stay with your company. Then they would each leave, like in according to their company, to then go run for like, what was it, like 3 miles?
No,
5?
it's one lap around the school, which is
Oh,
like
okay.
1.5 miles ish, right? It's not particularly long compared to like what we typically run.
Yeah, but you do
And
that.
it's not fast. Like we're running like 11, 12-minute pace. The problem is you're so exhausted and out of breath that you feel like you're running like 4 miles a minute, and you're like hyperventilating. You're like, I'm not gonna make it, and then you take another 2 steps. And you're like, all right, I'm not gonna make it, and then you take another 2 steps, and then you find yourself back in the barracks where you started. And you're like, how did I even get back here?
Yeah.
And then when you get back, you think you're done, and then you're not. So we have a tradition called a class set, and so you take your class year. So in my case, I'm class of 25, and you add 100, and that's 125, and that's how many push-ups you have to do at the end of all this. I got to about 60, and then I needed help. So when you get back, your senior mentor, when you get there as a knob, you have a senior like kind of guide you through these things, and your senior mentor takes a towel, and you do as many as you can, and then after a while, they're gonna help you like do them, and they'll take the towel and kind of like almost like deadlift
like
you.
pull you up a little bit.
Yeah, and to help you get to like 125, because like realistically, like no one could do 125.
Yeah.
It's like physically impossible. So, or I mean, you could if you're
Unless
just a
you're,
stud.
like, that guy.
You're a stud. I've seen people do it,
I wouldn't
but
be
like,
surprised.
but yeah, and then at the end, you're pretty much done after that. But yeah, it's a process. It's a long day, but it's a fun day. Like, can't lie. I kind of miss it. I mean, I did it this past year too with the class of 26, but it's not the same as like actually being
do
the
it.
knob.
Yeah. And then at the very end of all that, when you're done with your push-ups, you wait for everybody to finish, right? And then you all kind of crawl towards your company's flag, which is in the middle of the battalion.
Yeah,
And then you recite, what is it called?
the cadet prayer.
The cadet prayer. So they drill that into you from day one, right? Like they want you to remember that.
I was told to start learning it like 2 weeks before.
Even before getting there?
Some people see, and that's the cool thing about the Citadel. Like I've heard some people saying like you need to know this since the second you get there, to like, oh, make sure you learn this by the end of the week because you're gonna have to say it. So like you don't have there's like no like rhyme or reason like you have to do it on this day, but it has to get done. Like it would be like really embarrassing if you like didn't know the prayer on that day.
You were just like, oh, I'm finally done.
Yeah, it's like one thing after another. It's like and another thing.
It's like when you're listening to music and you don't really know the words, so you're kind of just mumbling. And you're like listening to the other people
dude,
say it.
We got to that. We got there and we screamed it. Like we all knew the words to it. None of us like pretended not to know it. We all knew it.
And then after all of that, you line up.
Yeah.
You brace. And for those that don't know what bracing is, it's when it's kind of like you put your shoulders like up,
yeah.
right?
So
And
it's
you
like
lean back and
so bracing is basically like you roll your shoulders back, you put your chin to like as far down as you can, and you basically just look straight. Your arms like don't move your side, and you look like what are those things called? A nutcracker. You basically look you look stupid. I'm not doing it because I've done that enough, but it's like it's supposed to feel like a little humiliating every time you do it, and yeah, you brace for the final time. They play the bagpipes. You're done.
And you can release from your brace. But you had to brace the whole knob year.
Yeah, so you brace anytime there's an upperclassman in your room. You're outside. That's about it. So
When you're walking.
you don't. Well, if you're in the barracks, like in your dorm rooms.
Well, not in your dorm room, but like when you're outside.
Not when you're walking around campus.
Really?
But no, you don't brace there.
Really?
No.
Oh.
But you do walk at roughly 140 paces per minute.
That's what I remember. You have to have your arms out?
Yeah, you're like swinging your
Yeah.
arms.
What
you
the-
keep
So
your
like,
walking
there's
really
not a
fast.
single second
Oh
you're
my
like relaxed.
Yeah.
Besides maybe going to bed at night. Even then.
Even then. So
Even
when you come
then.
in your room, like,
Yeah. And yeah, so yeah, if anyone comes in your room, you got to brace. If you're inside the dorm rooms, you got to brace. And other than that, I mean, you're just walking like you're late to something.
I don't remember a lot of stories you told me from like knob year, but there's one in particular that I still find funny is when people have to go up the stairs and
Yeah.
how they stop you as
Yeah.
a knob. So like
So-
how do
So the school makes it as inconvenient as you can for being a freshman. And one of the things they do is they put all the freshmen on the 4th floor. There's 4 floors. It doesn't matter who's on the first 3, but the freshmen are always on the first floor. And
fourth floor or the first floor?
the 4th.
Okay.
And so every time you walk up or run up the stairs, you have to, like, you get in a hole, you look up, and you run up the stairs, and you do that for each floor. And if anyone's on the stairs, you got to go down to, like, whatever floor you were just on, and then be like, oh, do I have permission to go up your stairs, sir? And if they say no, go back down to the first floor, you're going back down to the first floor. It doesn't matter if you're on the 4th. It doesn't matter if you're still on 2nd. Like, no, you're going back down.
Wasn't there a story about how they put a box on the stairs for somebody?
Yeah,
What was that?
so as a freshman, you have to stay basically like on a particular side of like the hallway, and this guy couldn't get it, so they took a cardboard box and they're like, you're gonna stand in that for the next 30 minutes until you learn to stay on your side. And humiliation is one hell of a teacher because you didn't mess that up anytime soon.
I wouldn't either if I had to stand in a box for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or when you that first morning going back to your room after like hell morning, and you're trying to go back to your room, you're trying to go back up, and you see someone, they're like, "What's my name?" And you've never seen that person ever in your life. You're like, "Sir," and then they just send you back downstairs. That's like literally all you say. I would know because I've done it too. I've sent kids back downstairs.
What's my name? No. Back down for you.
I've had a kid once called me Rodriguez, and I like flipped out on him because I was like, "You just assumed I was some like generic Hispanic," and he was like, "Sir," I was like, "No, you're going back down to like first," and we were on the 3rd division or 3rd floor, so like he had a while to go back up.
Oh my.
God.
Yeah.
But I mean, overall, your knob years, like, what's some stuff you learned like from your experience?
Well, I learned a lot about my college major. I got a lot of opportunities with cyber and cyber security and all that stuff. I met a lot of good people, a lot of good professors. I learned a lot, and it's like really, I'm like really kind of like leapfrogging off of that to like, you know, my sophomore year and now upcoming junior year, and I'm really happy about like where I'm at academically. Physically, I mean, I'm pretty happy, pretty satisfied. I know a lot of people over there, and yeah, I couldn't ask for a better experience. I love it as much as it does suck. It is like very enjoyable. It's very rewarding if you stick it out, like anything in life. So
Probably helps your mindset too, right?
it does. Like it gets you in a good mindset.
Yeah.
You know, kind of like to like work hard. You know, hard work kind of pays off. So
Don't be a lazy bones.
yeah, don't be lazy. Yeah.
But now moving into your 3rd year of college, how has your experience been so far? Like your 2nd year, and now going into your 3rd year, like what are some of your goals? Like, what do you want to? Where do you see yourself at the end of your 3rd year?
So each year doesn't. So after like knob year, you're not done yet. You don't get a college degree. You don't graduate. You still got 3 more years or 2, depending if you're graduating early. So there's still a lot you could do. One thing that the school does is they have a ranking system, and in that ranking system, you basically go out and you apply for a job around the school, and if you get it, like you now have like more responsibilities on like what to do. So last year I was just a squad corporal, and I was just in charge of like 5 kids, making sure like they were okay, they were doing good academically, physically, mentally.
Okay.
And you just go around and it's really easy, but like each year your jobs get harder. So next year, going into year 3, I'll be the human affairs NCO. So I'm in charge of making sure that everyone's like mentally okay. If anyone feels like down or like depressed, I could get them the right like resources and get them in contact with the right people.
Is it like a therapist?
I'm basically the company therapist. I'm the therapist for 100 people. So
That's the good part of it. And then you have the bad part where it's like, like the whiny complainers that actually don't have anything to
Yeah, that
complain, like,
happens.
I'm so sad.
Yeah,
Why? I don't know.
I'm not like. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna hear their problems out, but next year if a knob comes up to me and he's like, "They're yelling at me," I'll be like, "That sucks. Go back." Especially, it's kind of fun now that like when you get older, right? Like you're gonna see like, okay, as a freshman, everyone's the same, right? As a sophomore, everyone's more or less doing the same job if you get a job. Now the jobs are like way more specialized. So like my best friend, like my old roommate, he's gonna be, they're like the like main junior in charge of like all the freshmen.
All the freshmen.
So he's gonna be causing like, he's gonna be making their lives, hell on earth. While I'm gonna hear stories like, Mr. So and so is so mean, and be like, no, he's actually nice. Go back out there. Like,
go back out there. He yells at you again.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
But there's more jobs, more opportunities. In each year, like it's funny, like your first year is hard, but you're probably your easiest year as well because you're told everything you need to do.
Yeah.
After that, you gotta just kind of figure it out, and like no one tells you like, oh, how do I actually like live and operate there as like a normal person. So you have to like refigure it out again. And you gotta like design your schedule, like not being a knob and like, oh, I actually have free time. What do I do in my free time? Do I sleep? Do I take a nap? Do I work out? And
Yeah.
it's definitely interesting. It gets a lot of people like, there's a little hiccup, like a sophomore slump essentially, and everyone goes through a little hiccup for like the first like 2-3 months there, until they figure out like they get into another groove. So
yeah. I mean, you go from being told what to do all the time
to being just like left alone.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really weird because you don't know anything else, especially how the schools run. Like there's like certain times and places like you would need to be at.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's going from, like they take the training wheels off and it's like, all right, go ride.
very abruptly take the training wheels off. Just all right, bye.
Yeah.
But very interesting. Just it's weird seeing how you go from do this, do that to all right, now you can be your own
Like
person,
no
do your
one
own
cares like what you do. Like it's weird.
thing. So did you have anybody that like helped you along the way, or any role models that you looked up to while you were there, like
Yeah.
upperclassmen that helped you?
Yeah, so I have a lot of them. Like, there's definitely been a lot. Like, even from the very beginning, like when I got my senior mentor and all that stuff, like he's helped me a lot. Him and his roommates, because he lived in a 4-person room, so him and his roommates, they helped me kind of like have fun. Learn a little kind of some tips and tricks. Things like that. Like, I remember they like didn't really get to talk to us until like pretty much like after like October, and then they started to like get to know us like way more in depth. And they like, out of the 5 they had, they like really liked 3 of us, and like we were invited to go to their room and like kind of hang out, watch them watch movies and just chill out. We had a Christmas party in there. We got a live tree. And
They let you get one?
yeah, we got one for them, and we like watered it every day, and they loved it. Yeah, we had like a mini Thanksgiving dinner with them. It's fun. So definitely look up to them, and then other people along the way. They'll come in, and you always have someone to look up to over there, even like your own classmates, or like maybe even like some of the like younger guys too. So definitely you're gonna have a lot of role models. I know I'm probably role models for other people, and I look up to other people for like what to do and how to act. So it's like the greatest resource over there isn't like the diploma, it's the people. So
exactly, I think you could say that for pretty much anywhere though. Like even USF, it's like, yeah, you can have a degree, but if you aren't like, for example, if you're an engineer and you don't know how to work with people, all you have is a piece of paper that says, I know a lot of math.
Yeah.
You know people, though. Like, how does that help you? Or especially in, like, film.
Yeah, no.
Like, if you, I
it's
have a
all
degree.
about connection. It's also just, like, learning to be, like, social,
Yeah.
too. Like, a lot of that you have to go to college and kind of learn that.
yeah.
College is, like, the academic part, but then the social part comes from I think more so your connections.
Yeah.
College is the time to grow, in my opinion. Like, this is like, all right, high school is very linear. Like, you know, yeah, you have different like people and different ways to like behave and act and all that stuff. But after high school graduates, like everyone's kind of like pretty much on equal terms.
They do their own thing.
They do their own thing. Like that's like your really time to like figure out like what do I really like, what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, what goals do I want to achieve. So you definitely want to go out and like really like figure yourself out. And I think like the Citadel is like one of the greatest places you could like go and really like find out what you're made of. And every year, like there's a challenge. Like it's not just knob year. It's like, all right, can I prove myself like mentally? Can I grow spiritually? Can I grow physically? Can I try to get all A's or get Dean's List this semester? Like there's never like a, all right, you're done. You could just take the semester off.
Yeah.
Like you're always pushed to kind of go for more.
To do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Citadel's not all bad. I mean, you hear stories about, kids crying or, I'm working so hard, like I get no sleep, blah, blah, blah. But then they also have like this type of stuff, like it's a balance. And I know you guys also have like shining parties, and then you have like the smoking jokes and all that.
Yeah, so we have different things at school that are like, the school recognizes that like it's still a college at the end of the day. So like we do have fun events, like Rec Day I would consider it is a pretty fun event.
Sounds like what are those it sounds like a field day on crack.
It's like, yeah, it's basically a really intense field day. And we have other things like the day before we go home for Thanksgiving break, we have a thing called the Smoke and Joke. And we make these like kind of funny hats for everyone. And everyone gets to go outside, tell jokes about each other. It's typically the freshmen that tell jokes about the upperclassmen. And yeah, you go and you get good food. You get to talk to the upperclassmen for the first time normally. And it's like a really good like wrap up right before you leave for like Thanksgiving break. Depending on like what your company's doing, you could have a Christmas party. I know we've been doing Christmas parties for a while now, and they're fun. We do like a Secret Santa. You get different things. Like it doesn't even have to be like a school organized event. Like every second Friday, sometimes we have like a movie night where we stay in and we'll watch a movie. Like in like a big room or something like that. It's like fun things like that,
Yeah. Like you said, at the end of the day, it's still college. You gotta have some.
Yeah, we're not all like all work, no play.
You're not just like a contract, a piece of paper. Like we own you now, so
we have our fun.
Yeah. Moving on from like school though, I mean it's obviously still about the Citadel, but like I know on Fridays you guys have something called parade.
Yeah.
So what is parade? Like, what is that? And
so if you ever watch like the Macy's Day Parade and they just like walk around the street, that's essentially what we do. So every Friday right around 3:30 we go outside on this giant like parade deck. We stand there and do I don't know, some random thing, whatever we're doing that Friday. And they're like, "All right, it's like a tourist event, right?"
Yeah.
So we march there, we march back into our rooms, and they're like, I was like, look how cool we are.
They're basically just showing you off. Like,
yeah.
Look at them.
And then we go back to our rooms and then we start our weekend, and that's
about it.
Yeah,
to put it in perspective, like to visualize it. Think about a big, long grass field, and on the sides of those fields is like the what are they called again? Why am I blanking on the name? Where you stay? The buildings.
The grass?
No, not the grass. The buildings you stay in.
Oh, the barracks.
The barracks. So it's the long area of grass, and then the barracks are right next to them, so that when they walk out of their front gate of the barracks, they can just walk right onto the field. So then on the field, because I remember when I went and I watched, they all come out according to their company and then according to their barrack, like depending on how far away their barrack is from the starting point.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens is they line up, they have their flag bearer at the front, they hold their flag for their respective company, they line up, and they do little, it's like a parade. And sometimes when we went, they had the Jeep.
Yeah, so we bring out the Jeep for like fancy parades. Like if it's like a big event like Rec Day weekend, or like we did a Jeep one for was not Veterans. Yeah, Veterans Day.
Okay.
So we do, like when the Jeep comes out, it's like typically a very important one.
Yeah. Now keep in mind they have to wear a specific uniform for every for the parade. So you have like the all white uniform.
Yeah, I like that one.
I like that one too. I think it looks clean.
It's
But
like-
isn't it also like very hot?
That one isn't, but the other ones are.
Don't you have a wool one too?
Yeah, we have an all wool uniform. I
Oh,
hate wearing that thing.
Now the all
It has
wool one.
it has an insulator too in it, so like if it's like anything above 75 degrees, you're like sweating underneath it.
Yeah. So they have those, and I remember when we went, it was hot that day. Like, I don't even know.
I thought it was cold.
That day? That day was hot. I was
Alright.
like, oh my god.
All right, if you don't know, Charleston is located like in a swamp, so it is like hot.
Yeah.
It is very humid, more humid than Florida. Florida gets hot and a little humid, right? So South Carolina is like right between two swamps. So you walk outside and like you start sweating and you feel like you're like swimming half the time. They had a thing. The first time I went there, I found out about this. They have a thing in South Carolina called Black Flag environment, when it's an environment above 105 degrees. And I never heard about that after living in Florida for like 18, 19 years. I never knew Black Flag was a thing until going to South Carolina.
And that's
Because it gets hot. It gets hot.
is that like a thing they put in the area? Like,
Yeah,
it's Black Flag
So
weather?
they send out an announcement. Like you'll get an announcement on your like weather's at like Black Flag advisory.
Black flag incoming.
Yeah, and it's like you'll get it and you'll be like, what? Like, I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, what does that mean? And I like pointed my phone at someone. I was like, what does that mean? He's like, oh, it just means it's like really hot. I was like, you get an advisory for like hot? And they're like, yeah, man. Like that just means like, hey, don't go outside of like.
For a long period of time.
Yeah.
You're going to have you're going to die.
And then like like the flagpole where you put like the United States flag.
They put Black
They
Flag
put
on
a
there?
black flag
up there.
underneath
Oh my
it because
God.
they're like, yo, it's hot. Go inside or something.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't even know that. I mean, we live in Florida, so it's hot, but not that hot.
Yeah.
It's not. It's more so hot than humid, like you said. So we never get anything like that.
Yeah.
We don't
Like
even,
you ever been
No.
like next to like a body of water and you can feel it like when it rains and you stand on the side of the road and you could feel like the heat rising.
Yeah.
That's what it constantly feels like in South Carolina. Right? Like even when it doesn't rain. So like it really gets to you. And it's hot.
No, it's when we went, it wasn't terrible, but it was still pretty hot.
That was like one of the colder days.
One of the colder days. I guarantee you that day it had to be in like the 80s to 90s. The day that we went, or the days that we went.
There's some days that you'll go out for a parade. It's like 90 degrees, and you're like, oh boy.
Yeah, and you during parade you have to stand there, and when you're in parade you hold a rifle.
Yeah.
Some people hold rifles, and you're holding your rifle out like this, and now imagine you're holding it like that, like straight out, straight armed, right in front of you, and it's 90 degrees outside, super humid, and you're trying not to move or shake.
And you're out there
and
for
you're
like 30
sweating.
minutes, like to an hour.
Yep.
It's awful.
And then you
Parades
also,
are fun to watch, not fun to be in.
exactly. You told me one time that sometimes the Jeep, because the Jeep is so old, that it'll break
Yeah.
down halfway through the
So this
field.
actually happened this past year. It was like one of the last parades we did, and I was on guard, so I wasn't in the parade, but I was watching it.
Oh, you're so lucky.
And the Jeep just like malfunctioned
Oh my
like halfway
God.
through. So they had to so they were just standing there for like an extra like 20, 15 minutes because like they were like, well, Jeep's not started.
That happened when I went too. They started driving, and there was a,
Oh,
It was like-
it slowed down or something
Mhm.
like that. I remember I was like, oh god.
and there was these like, I don't know who they were, but they were important people because they had a lot of medals and stuff on them, and they were in the back of the Jeep. And there's just I kind of felt bad because it was this kid, one of the Citadel kids. He was driving the Jeep, and it breaks down. He's just like, you can see in his face like, oh my god, it broke down.
Yeah,
is my
I
one
had-
job.
I have a friend who like basically like drove the Jeep this past year, and like they basically tell him like Yeah, you just got to figure it out at that thing.
No.
Is that like a special privilege to drive the Jeep, or is that? A
Yeah, so the highest ranking junior gets to drive the Jeep.
Okay.
That's pretty cool.
While the highest ranking senior gets to ride with the person
with
on
the
the
person.
back. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's who the other person was.
Yeah.
Okay. I think
Because
that-
like them two, they work together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just imagine it breaks down. They both kind of just turn around and stare at each other like, what do we do?
Yeah, I remember when that happened, and I just started laughing in my head. I was like, "Oh God, they're gonna be out there for a while."
And there's nothing you can really do. You're just kind of
Yeah,
there.
you just have to like stand there and be like,
Like,
"Well,
how do they have to fix it, or does someone come on the field and fix it? I don't remember seeing anyone like come on the
they
field.
just basically just like, all right, turn it on, turn it off again, and just hope it works." They might open.
on-off switch.
I don't know. Essentially, I don't know. Like
You
when they fix it, they basically just like let it cool down for like 5-10 minutes and then turn it on again and start working. But
Is that thing a stick shift? It's pretty old.
I think so. It
It's
has
gotta
to be.
be.
It has to be.
Yeah.
It's like a 1940s Jeep, so like
Yeah.
it's got to be like.
It's
stick
like the
shift.
Jeep from. You remember the Jeep guy from Cars?
Yeah.
Military
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah.
That's literally what
Okay.
it is. That's the
Okay.
Jeep that it is. So, but overall, it was pretty fun. Let's see. We got like 2 more questions. So, I know that you had one of your friends, like one of your role models, who was really helping you with your faith and whatnot.
Mhm.
And I know that over there at the Citadel, they have church. They literally have a church right across from the field. So, you're Catholic. So, how has your faith overall helped you like get through this experience?
So I would say like faith like is very important over there. You're gonna have a lot of days, especially as a knob, but even after that, and that's what the part that no one tells you, that like things are gonna feel like very bleak or like, oh God, am I gonna graduate on time? Am I gonna graduate at all? Or like things are getting hard, things are getting overwhelming, right? So having like a good like faith background is like really important over there, and like a lot of people use it as like almost like a cornerstone or a centerpiece when it comes to like their time over there. And for me, it's very important because like I could always rely on it. Some days I'll be sick and I can't rely on like my physical strength, or like, oh, sometimes I don't know what I'm doing in the classroom, so I can't always rely on that, but I could always rely on my faith to kind of get me through things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important to me, and I had a good idea of faith and like a good sense of like faith alone. But like this past like semester, I met someone, like one of my role models, and he really helped me kind of figure out like the person I kind of want to, like I really want to be, like in every aspect, but most importantly in faith. And he taught me a lot, and yeah, like can't say enough good things about him. He's like one of the best people I've ever met. He's got a lot of ideas. He's got a lot of teachings. And funny enough, he's non-denominational, so it's not like Catholic. He's totally down with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's great. He's a great guy. Can't recommend like anything. He's great. Great man.
He's just overall a very knowledgeable person.
He's a very knowledgeable person, and yeah, faith is very important over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have like church services like every Sunday, and we have like Bible like we call them like religious meetings like every Monday and Thursday. So it's not like we don't neglect that part
Yeah.
of like people's faith a lot. And yeah.
I remember you told me, and I remember seeing, because it's a cathedral. It's like a mini cathedral. It's very nice on the inside. They have different services for the different denominations. So they have like Catholic service, but then before that they'll have like non-denominational service and then Baptist service. Do they have like other religion services?
I know over there, like the main ones that most people go to. So there's a Catholic one,
Mhm.
right? And then there's the different like Protestant ones. Like there's like BCM or like other ones that I can't really think of. Yeah, Baptist.
Or, what's it called?
Methodist. Yeah, non-denominational is one too, or evangelicalist. And but I would say like the one that like doesn't really get mentioned as much. There's like a small but very strong like Jewish community over there.
Really?
And and they go into town to go to like what is it?
They go to
Sabbath?
synagogue.
Synagogue, yeah. And so Charleston is known as a holy city, and there's a lot of churches and religions in there. So like you're bound to find like
Somewhere
to worship. There's a rule where you can't build a building taller than the tallest church in town.
Really?
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know like the exact number, like how high they can pass, but like they can't like if you're building it like let's say an apartment complex, you can't pass that church steeple.
What if they just tore down every church and just had like a little tiny church? You can't build it higher than that little church.
Yeah.
Everything.
There's old churches. One of the church I go to is it's been there since like 1906 or something.
That's in that one in the Citadel, or is this
No, the one in the Citadel has been there 1930 something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's really cool. One thing about Charleston I will say is it's very nice, like looking, like the architecture.
It's walkable.
It's what?
It's walkable.
Yes, it's walkable.
You
Something
can Uber,
Tampa's not.
but you don't need to walk. You can walk, and that's the nice part.
Yeah, it's very. It's just very aesthetically pleasing when you're there, and even just random regular buildings even look nice, and it's like, oh, it's got a vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like it's just got this special vibe, and it's very like chill, and I don't know. It's just I like it.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's very It's different from like Tampa.
Yeah, you come to Tampa,
especially
and-
like nowadays with Tampa like growing and all that stuff. It's a different vibe.
Yeah.
I like the vibe of Charleston a lot more than I do of Tampa. It's just I don't know. It feels more like homebody type of vibe. You know what I mean? So there's that. But the thing with Charleston is there's not a lot to do in Charleston besides like eat food. But some of the food they have there is fire. Like
Great.
when we went, I don't know, you weren't with us, but we went to this taco place with the mascot or the
The Taco Boy?
Yeah, Taco Boy.
Yeah, I go there like all the time.
I know. That was like some of the best tacos I've had.
I go to this one restaurant called Moe's Crosstown Tavern. Oh, it's great. It's like literally like 0.25 miles away, like right.
On the Citadel?
Yeah, straight shot out of one of the gates, right through the park, and you go there and it's like right on the like kind of like the sketchy part of town, and they have a little sign that's like the good part of the bad part of town.
That's funny.
And it is great. They have it's really good food, low price, really good. They have like literally any beer you could think of like on tap. And their happy hour prices apply to food as well. And that's why I go.
The sketchy places always have the best food.
It is
places.
No, it's fire.
They always have the best food.
Plus,
places.
if you go to the Citadel, you're bound to meet like another guy that went to the Citadel or is going to the Citadel there. It's a great place.
It's just like there's typical like Citadel hang spots.
That's
like
one of them. That's one of them.
Which is kind of funny because like it's like the good bad or the good bad.
It's like one of those like it's like right there. You'll see it. It's like a neon sign, and you're like, wow, it's Moe's, and then like sketchy neighborhood right behind it, and you're like, we're not parking there. We're gonna walk.
Yeah.
I feel like because of the Citadel like culture has moved to that building. I feel like is it technically still part of the bad part of town, or is just the
No.
bad part of town shrunk a little bit past the building?
It's like literally like the borders is the building.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying.
Like
though.
that whole street is the bad part of town, and then it, like we go around it, and then we keep going.
That's like Lock Street here.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, no, great place. There's a couple like places when I go with my parents, they love getting brunch. There's a lot of brunch places there too. There's a lot of barbecue places. Yeah, there's a lot of good food.
Yeah.
The South knows how to cook.
Yeah.
I want to go back so I can eat more. I almost said Fat Boy. I almost had Taco Boy.
Yeah.
That's all I had.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then we went to the one place. What was it? Like Italian or something? Something like that. It was in a plaza. You remember?
No,
We went to go eat there with your parents.
I don't remember.
Anyway, we went there.
Probably good food.
It was all right. I enjoyed it. But there's one thing that the Citadel doesn't have. Women.
We do.
Oh,
It's
very
just not
little though.
very little.
Which is like, is it weird going to like an not all boy, because there are girls.
So
there, but
let me expand on this. So it's like, so obviously since it's a military academy, there's a large amount of guys that go to school versus girls. So I think it's like a 75%
boys
versus girls. I think that number has been like kind of like fluctuates from like 75 to 70 to like 67 or something like that. But it's mainly dominated by guys over there, and it's weird, and it's like a blessing and a curse, because A, you don't have to deal with that like any drama, but B, it is
lonely.
It is very lonely. You got your guy friends, and you got like that's about it.
I just think it's funny how the Citadel is a mostly boys' school, and then you have the College of Charleston, which is like not too far away.
Yeah,
It's just a complete girls'
The
school.
College of Charleston has a 65% girls to guy ratio. So it's like 65%, 30, or like whatever. Do the math. 35%. But it's really weird. One thing I don't like about it is I still have to wear pants when I walk outside to go to the bathroom. But whatever.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm wearing boxers, I have to put on shorts just in case anyone is outside.
If anyone's outside,
So
it is what it is.
it's like a very small inconvenience, but like other than that, I mean, like there's not much to it. It's just like mainly dominated by guys over there. The girls, I mean, like, some of them are all right. Some of them are cool people to be around. They're very smart. They're very educated. They've definitely earned their way being there. I just would not want to, really
indulge.
Yes.
But that's fair. I feel because the way you've said it before is like a lot of them are like tomboys or like manly women, and you're no.
Like there's this one girl like props to her, super motivated. Loves to work out, good things to have, but like she could rival like David Goggins and like her motivation. Like it'll be like a Sunday at 5:30 and she's up, and I'm like, go back to bed. Please.
You walk into the gym, she's there like, oh, hey, how's it going?
I've once seen her at the gym.
It going?
I woke up at 6 and I was like, on my day off, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to the gym early. And I saw her there. And I was like, what are you doing here? I was like, I expected this place to be empty.
But then you're here.
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, people over there, as much as there are some weird girls over there, there's just as many weird guys. So
that is very true. There's a lot of weird dudes. You can find weird dudes anywhere.
Yeah, it's not like a exclusively over there
Do
thing.
you have like the stereotypical like ROTC kids?
Yes. If you've seen those TikToks, we have a couple of them. Yeah.
I do not know what kind of weapon this is. Are you dumb?
Yeah. There's a couple of them. It's a little awkward when we talk to them because like we're doing the same thing as them, and we're like,
bro, I probably know more than you. What are you talking about?
it's not even that. But you're like, dude, chill out.
Calm down. We are here together.
Yeah, that's like my biggest pet peeve over there. Like,
oh really?
When like people like don't know how to like shut up. Like we go to a military college. I'm like, really? we go somewhere where the military is important? No way.
No way.
What else you got to talk about?
I think if I were to go to, I think a big pet peeve would be like people thinking they know more than you when you do the same thing.
Oh, that happens all the time.
Like you're not doing this right.
That happens all the time. The amount of arguments I've seen over like someone doing like, no, you got to do it like this. No, I'm doing it like this because this is right. And they have an argument over like something as petty as like how to sweep the floor.
How to shine your buckle.
Yeah, it's literally like you'll watch them argue and you're like, that
was the dumbest thing ever.
This is dumb. Yeah, I mean, but like that happens at other colleges as well. As just swap a couple words out. But
no, it definitely happens at USF. There are some engineering students that think that they are the next coming of architect Christ. and they're like, guys, don't worry. You don't understand. I'm gonna help you because I'm really good at this. I'm like,
Yeah, we have the same thing in terms of ROTC. Like, we have some guys that like think they're gonna be like the next like American sniper, and like you're like, dude, we're just doing like a basic movement right now.
we're
Like,
literally stretching.
we're like literally like learning how to like walk in a formation, and he's like, guys, I'm gonna be so good in the military. I'm like, all right, man, you still gotta graduate. From like, so. It's it's just, it happens everywhere, and
I mean, there's always those people.
I will say that there's some people in the cyber department that like there's not many people like that. There's
That's
only
a good thing, man.
and the people that like know how to do like literally everything, they're very humble about it.
Yeah, they're not like, I know
Yeah,
how
they
to
don't-
code
they-
everything.
Yeah, they
in
don't
all
they don't
types.
brag about it, which is like really good. Yeah, I love the cyber department over there at the Citadel. It's great.
No, that's
Can't-
good at least. I mean, you always want to have those type of people, not the, I know everything.
Yeah, there's definitely people over there that are like, like you try to like recommend like, hey man, I think you're doing that wrong, and they act like you just like curse out their family name. So
There's one more thing I wanted to talk about. So, do you have any like funny stories from the Citadel or even from high school? Because I know that you go on like excursions sometimes with the military. You have those type of things.
So I'm an Army contract, which means that like on top of like everything I have to do at the school, like I have to do like Army stuff as well. And you would find that at like any other school, right? The ROTC department. It's just, over there it's just way more prevalent. And so, we go out and we go train every semester for like 3 or 4 days. We go in the woods and we get like practice like, all right, how you would like set up a camp or like how you would like conduct an attack or whatever. And this past semester we were getting ready and they're like, oh, it doesn't look like it's gonna rain and all that stuff. It looks like it's good. It was like temperatures on like 70s, high 70s, low 50s, very comfortable weather. And then we get there and the first day we were there, the first night, it was like 9 o'clock and it starts to like, drizzle a little bit, and it's like, all right, looks like it's gonna rain. Just get out your rain stuff and just make a little like hooch, which is like almost like a cover. And we were like, okay, it shouldn't be that bad. And they were like, it should have just rained for an hour. Fast forward to 2:30 in the morning, the temperature dropped to 47 degrees, and all the water is like slowly seeping into my tent.
Oh god.
And I'm like, I don't want to be out here anymore. I was like, this is cold. I want to go home. I haven't eaten anything since 6 o'clock. And it was miserable. I didn't get an ounce of sleep that day.
Yeah.
Like I remember like looking at my like watch, and it was like 5:15 and we had to be up in 15 minutes. I was like, I'm gonna just start packing up now.
Yeah.
So I just got up. Everything was wet the whole day. And like that whole the next day when the sun came up, it never came up because it was overcast and raining the whole day.
That's great.
And that day we were shooting M4s. So like the whole range you're like aiming and like you're shaking. And you're like, I don't want to be out here anymore. And so it was really like a physical thing, and like there was a lot of people that like weren't really
They were just
enjoying.
not having a good time.
We only had 2 kids that like had to go inside and like basically like warm up. They had symptoms of like
Hypothermia.
yeah. I mean, looking back, a lot of people did, but like none of us just wanted to say that like, oh, we quit. So I know like one of my friends that I was like with, me and him were like right next to each other, and he like we woke up early, or like we didn't wake up, we just stayed up, and we were like, hey, can we go to the bathroom? And they were like, yeah, sure. And we were walking. He was like, I don't feel good at all. He like threw up and was shaking everywhere. And I was like, are you all right? He's like, yeah, man, I'm fine. And like that's one of the symptoms of hypothermia.
Oh
But
my god.
yeah, other people like the juniors and some of the freshmen, they didn't have it as well. So yeah, it's like it wasn't a fun weekend, but
Doesn't sound very
when we got back Sunday, it didn't end because I got back Sunday and you're like, oh yeah, I can finally sleep and like eat real food. Nah, midterm started the next day, so I had to stay up. I remember emailing my teacher. I was like, hey, we got like rained on like all weekend. Can I turn this assignment in tomorrow for like and can you drop the late penalty of like 50%? He was like, sorry, man, I can't, because then I would have to give it to everybody. Hopefully you could just figure it out. And I was so tired trying to figure out that like the coding assignment. I like submitted it at like 8:30, and I was like, good night. I just like went to bed. I was like, I'm not waking up.
Nah, you told me that story, and then there was just times where you're like, yeah, we have to go do navigation. They just kind of drop you in the woods, and you got to figure it out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so you have to do like land nav in like the woods, and it's a little scary at first, but after a while you get used to it.
That might be a little bit of fun, though, right?
Yeah, until like it's
Until
night.
Hog comes.
Yeah.
No, it's fun during the day, but at night,
Yeah, at night, then it's probably not.
because like you're like, oh, look, can I have a flashlight? No, you just gotta stare at a paper that maybe you could read.
Don't you have your little lamp light?
Yeah, but we can't turn it on.
You can only turn it on when you're looking at the paper?
So
or no?
when you use the lamp, you gotta take a knee, put something over you like a poncho or something like that, and then you could turn it on.
What the?
I guess if you're in,
Like if-
enemy lines, you're like, wow, I'm going to turn my lamp on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, walking around in the middle of the night, like your senses are like extremely heightened. So like you'll hear like a leaf fall, and you'll be like,
You'll start to
you'll turn around, like you'll freak out over like nothing.
That'd-
Also, like finding the points that you're looking for is like damn near impossible too.
Do you ever find them? Like,
I
do you
found my
find 'em?
points. I found my points at night. Yeah, but like
Interesting.
you have to be like spot on with like your like you'll be counting your footsteps on like how many feet you've walked and
Dang.
all that stuff.
It'd be a fun experience if they, like, to make it harder, if they had someone out there with like a paintball gun or like an airsoft gun. Every time you turn on your light or something, you're like, oh, I'm going to try and then bang.
I mean, they don't do that, but like when we go out there, there's people walking around to make sure like A, we know what to do and we don't get lost.
Yeah.
And B, to make sure like no one's like walking around with like
No one's-
a flashlight, like, oh, the point's over there, guys, like, go. But like I remember one time, we were doing this like, so at night you have to make sure someone's watching to make sure like no one sneaks up and kills like 30 people out of nowhere,
Oh
right?
my God.
Like in a real life scenario.
Yeah.
But what's it called? So we had these things called fire watches, and it's like, all right, every hour, 2 people walk around making sure like everyone's okay. No one's walking in that they're
That's
not
not supposed to be there.
They're supposed to be there. And I remember we were fine. Our like platoon, we were killing it. We were doing good. And then another platoon, they weren't apparently, apparently
their
they're
job.
fired. They fell asleep. So they took an Aztec death whistle and blew it and woke up everyone.
Like in that platoon?
I mean, you could hear it. Like it was like death quiet, and you just hear like someone scream bloody murder. And you're like, you just look over. You're like, they're not
Where do
having
you get
fun
an
over there.
Aztec death whistle?
Amazon. We have one. When we freaked out the knobs by blowing. We like last year, we were upstairs. We were dressed and ready like 4:15. We're like, all right, we gotta wake these kids up. How do we do it? And we're like, typically like the doors are metal, so you like slam the door and whatever. And one of my friends was like, oh, let me get my whistle. And we thought it was like a regular whistle. And he brings an Aztec death whistle. And we're like,
God.
so what are you gonna do? He's like, well, I'm gonna blow it. So it's dead silent, and like everyone across the school has like, all right, 4:30, wake these kids up. So right when 4:30 hits, like the second it's 4:30, you just hear like bang, 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 and then from our little corner, you just hear like a fucking someone scream, and I can only imagine what it's like on the other side of the door. Like
Oh my gosh.
yeah. I mean, you're like paralyzed. You're like, what's going on?
I couldn't imagine what it's like in the battalion over. They're like, wake up. What the?
No, because it's so loud you can't hear anything. Because you're also waking people up too. Because you're like, you might hear the whistle, but you're also like slamming a kid's door in.
Fair enough.
Fun things though, but
Good time, fun. I never heard that story before. That's funny.
yeah.
But I mean, do you have what time are we at right now?
Hour 15.
That's pretty good. I mean, do you have any other, like, I know we talked a lot about the Citadel. Do you have any like funny high school stories that you remember, like Anyone that's like on your mind?
Second semester senior year.
Second semester senior year.
Where we did it all online.
I don't think I've talked about that before.
Yeah, so we did the first part of senior year in person, and then we decided, this ain't it. And like me, him, and another friend of ours, we all transferred online and essentially cheated through high school.
Hypothetically,
What if that'd be crazy if we did, but we didn't. Totally.
Yeah.
But no, that was fun. Like
we definitely did not.
we never played Rocket League in the middle of math class.
We never played Rocket League in the middle of science. We never played Rocket League during the middle of English class when we were supposed to be doing discussions.
I've never left the meeting and gone to the gym in the middle of English class. I've never done that on repeat occasions.
We've never accidentally not muted our microphones and played Rocket League.
We've never not muted anyone else during the speech.
We've never muted someone during their discussion time and then completely forgot about it.
And then that said person texted me like, someone's muting my microphone. And I was like,
I don't know.
That's so crazy.
No, we've never done these things. We never would. We are very studious students. We would never accidentally drop our pencils during our IB exams and slam on our desk and fall on the floor. We would never do that.
I forgot we did that.
Yeah. We may have accidentally dropped our pencil on the floor and then went, "Ugh."
Yeah, this wasn't like a cheating thing. We were just being obnoxious.
We were just being obnoxious.
God.
I remember our whole section was they were laughing, but they're like, "What the heck is wrong?"
Because we sat next to each other. And that was a mistake. Because typically we sat alphabetically, and it was
be in the front,
I would be in the front
back.
with people I was whatever, you know what I mean? But this was the first time they're all right, you and Justin are sitting next to each other. We're like, oh, we better have some fun time. And didn't we have someone else in between us? And they were like, what the hell are you guys doing? And we would throw erasers at each other in this middle of the test.
I remember during the test when you first opened up the book and you went, and the whole gymnasium just sits just giggling. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I remember we had 3 hours to take the IB test, biology test, and it was a policy after the first hour you could leave. Exactly after the first hour, I was like, I'm done. They're you sure you want to work on it a little bit more? I was like, no, I promise you, I won't. Nothing new will go on that paper.
I remember there was one, I think it was Spanish. You took the exam, and then you took a nap, and then you finished the exam when you woke up.
Oh yeah, I was. Yeah. My test ranged from overconfident to no idea what I was doing. Never in between.
That time was one of the most stressful times when in our high school careers.
I had a blast.
But at the same time, I had a blast. So fun.
I had a blast.
I think at that point we were just done. We just wanted to be.
Well, at that point, I already got my Army scholarship, so
so
the
it
IB
didn't even matter.
The IB diploma never mattered to me. So I was like, what if I just took these tests as a joke?
Yeah, IB diploma I would have been cool if I got it. I didn't get mine, but I didn't really care because I knew at the end of the day I was going to USF for engineering. So I was like, whatever.
No.
I wasn't trying to. Here's the thing: when you're trying to go into IB, you're going in IB and you're trying to get your IB diploma. You're trying to go to Yale or some Ivy League or some prestigious school. You're not going to USF.
Yeah.
You got your IB diploma. Of course, you're gonna get into USF.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was a good time though. I remember those times very vividly. Those were very fun high school.
I love
times.
that. Also, junior year was fun.
Junior year was fun.
Until COVID. Well,
Junior
even
year,
COVID,
yeah.
That was fun too.
Junior year was the pretext of COVID, and that's when we were semi-online, and we would just fool around and do whatever. And then they finally sent us home, and then that was when peak of high school started.
Even while we were still in class, it was fun because we had every class together except for one.
Yeah, we did. So it was even better. And then, I know you remember, last thing. Remember TOK. That class was
a joke.
It was a joke of a class.
We did anything but theory of knowledge in that class.
Yes, but the thing I remember the most from that class was
Balloons Tower Defense.
Balloons Tower Defense. We played that in the back of the class.
God.
My phone would be a nuclear reactor waiting to go off.
Me, you, and Christian would sit in the back of the class and play Balloon Tower Defense until our phones got hot, and then the game would turn off. And then we would also have debates in that class to where we would have really conservative people in our class and really liberal people in our class. And it was just like, we were just watching like a movie right there. And we were like, oh, this is great.
We would have like arguments about that, and then the next day we'd be like, "All right, guys, let's watch Donnie Darko."
Yeah, we watched like 3 different
my.
movies, and we were like, bro, what is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, Citadel and high school, it's been an experience. We'll see what happens in the future and past college and whatnot. But moving into our final segment, per usual, we have our national holidays to wrap it up. So today is Monday, May 29th, so it's Memorial Day. So appreciate all those who have served in the military, and it's quite convenient. We have Dylan on, who's also in the military.
Yeah,
That was a sign from
Yeah,
God.
yeah,
That was supposed to happen.
We didn't plan this at all.
So that was not. We were supposed to actually have a different guest on this
Yeah.
week, but that didn't end up happening. So, but yeah. So Memorial Day. Then it's also the Gloucester cheese rolling, also known as the Cooper's Hill cheese rolling and Wake Day. So that's like in the UK where they have that giant hill. It's called Cooper's Hill, and they roll the block of cheese down it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's
yeah,
that day.
sounds-
That happens
Okay.
today.
Doesn't everybody like roll with
Yeah,
it?
they roll with
just
the
like
cheese.
fly down.
That's that day.
That's wild.
It's also Mount Everest Day, National Alligator Day, which I actually went to go see some alligators.
My
Oh,
buddy
yeah.
in South Carolina may or may not have blew an alligator's head open with a desert eagle once.
No way.
Oh, my
Like not at the Citadel,
crazy.
No, not at Citadel.
Flush.
but like in
100.
his own. He was just whatever.
XP.
Never have done that before.
No, that's illegal. You can't do that.
No, he's never done that.
That's never happened. Moving on. It's National Paperclip Day, National Snail Day,
Oh.
Put a Pillow in Your Fridge Day.
Wait.
Have you ever
do
done that
that.
before?
No.
I've never done that.
I've never.
I'm gonna
done
do
that.
that
Dude,
tonight.
People
I've never
actually
done
do
it.
that?
I throw my
Yeah.
pillow. I throw my pillow on the floor. I
Like
like,
it's cold.
dude. So I like, as a little kid, I read the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and it was like in the book, it was like whenever he had like a good idea, but at night he would throw his pillow on the floor, and he would wake up and be like, "Why is that pillow on the floor?" And he would think of that like idea or like whatever reminder he had. I've been doing that since elementary school. Works every time.
So you throw your pillow on the floor when you have an idea.
Dude, you wake up, you're like, why is my pillow on the floor? You're like, and you remember whatever you needed to remember.
Can you just?
So it's like an IRL reminder.
Yeah,
like,
literally
of
like
what you were thinking of.
yeah, like I'd be like at sleep, like let's say I'm asleep, like or like trying to fall asleep. I'm like, oh, this is a good idea for like a gift or like a business idea. Throw your pillow on the floor. You wake up, you're like, and you remember your idea.
But definitely something I've never tried it, but I know it's like, oh, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. Because I mean, it's a cold.
It's a
pillow.
cold pillow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like no
long-
matter which way you flip it.
I don't know if I
long
would
you-
have enough room in my fridge for that.
Well, I
though.
mean, you'd have to, you know, get a mini fridge
How,
and
how
take
long
out
are
the.
you, how long are you putting that in the fridge for? Like
Uh,
how long till it
I mean, the fridge gets cold.
Till it's a
pretty fast.
brick.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a brick.
You get
Yeah,
concussion
it's
laying in
Literally
bed.
just
Like,
an
put it in the
ice cube. You're just
freezer.
laying on an ice cube.
What if you just like wet it and then you just put it in the freezer?
Oh no.
Then just slap it on your face.
That's a. You
I
ta-
can see that being like a torture.
I'm taking that to the pillow.
How to
fight.
not
Oh my god.
how to not fall asleep.
That's the pillow fight weapon right there.
God.
Oh my goodness.
And then last but not least, it's National Barbecue Week.
Oh.
So this whole week you can only eat barbecue for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh yeah.
So
National
you know what's weird? I wouldn't think it's weird to eat barbecue in the morning. It doesn't
Uh,
sound that bad. Like because people eat steak and eggs in the morning. What's wrong with having a rack of ribs in the morning?
I'm not trying to
You
get
wake
that
up.
dirty.
You
in the
wake
morning.
up and eat.
Yeah, but I mean,
Hush-
you don't have to be dirty.
You wake up and eat hush puppies and honey mustard and already get like your cholesterol and carbs in for the day.
Hush
Like,
puppies
got
are
2
so
more meals
good,
after
though.
this.
No, thank you.
Damn.
But I'm just saying, mac and cheese with the ribs in the morning.
Mac
doesn't
and cheese,
sound too
I
bad.
can, but I don't know about ribs in the morning, dude.
It doesn't sound bad.
No, it
You
doesn't
can have
sound
steak
bad,
in the
but
morning. You have
I-
ribs.
I'd barely ever have steak in the morning.
I'm saying
Yeah.
like, you
Like,
I
can.
know
I've never
people
had it
have,
before. I'm
like,
saying
With like omelets and stuff.
Yeah.
They throw it
It's
in
like
there, but-
it's more of a thing like up north. Like they do that a lot. Is have like steak and eggs.
Mhm.
you know what I had yesterday that I learned that I like?
Hmm.
Type of egg. It's called Arnold Benedict or Benedict.
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 Yeah. Those are fire.
They are good.
Those are
yeah,
so good.
no.
But we'll leave those stories for next week if we don't have a guest next week, because there's a lot that's happened like between the three of us that we haven't been able to talk about because we always had a guest on.
Yeah, we've literally the last 4 weeks we've had a guest.
Yeah, so we might have to take a break next week and just
maybe we'll just
go
have
back to the basics and talk about our lives. 'Cause there's a lot that's gone on in the last 4 weeks. That's a whole month.
Yeah.
What's going on in the month? But yeah, what are we at, like an hour and 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hour and 25.
Yeah, we're good to
I think
wrap
we're good
it
with
up.
that. But thank you guys for watching. 3 announcements about our pages and whatnot. We're 25 off 100 on TikTok. So go share and like on TikTok. Go follow on TikTok.
More importantly, we're only 5 away
I
from
know,
100
that's
on
on the
YouTube.
list. You gotta let me get there.
That's more important.
5 away from 100 on YouTube. So, make 5 accounts and subscribe
exactly.
5 times. Or, get 5 people. Here's your goal. Go out tomorrow, right? And go find 5 strangers.
Yeah.
And tell them to follow the podcast. And tell them to go tell 5 other strangers and do the same thing. Go to your local mall or your local gas station.
Just like a
and do
pyramid scheme for like
Yeah.
followers.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
We want you to do our bidding for us for free.
Do your job.
Yeah, that's your job. And then last but not least, follow us on Instagram. All this stuff that we're talking about right now is in the link below. If you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Amazon Music, it's in the description area on the episode, not on the general page, on the episode. Go check there. And then YouTube, it's also obviously in the description. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all that stuff's there.
MySpace.
LinkedIn, Feed Finder,
Pigeon carrier.
Pigeon Carrier. We even send it in the mail for you.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
really, but we will.
Send an envelope like click this link.
Click this link.
We'll send you an email.
Yeah, we'll send you emails. Sign up for our emails. But
Maybe when we'll get real famous, we'll get like a Patreon, and then like we'll do secret videos.
Special videos.
Honestly, I'm kind of against Patreon.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I feel like I don't know. That's a topic.
Honestly, we can have a conversation about that.
Oh, okay,
another video. but-
Yeah, we'll have
Put the
another
pillow
conversation.
down.
Yeah.
We'll think
Put
about
Yeah,
the
it.
we
pillow
got-
down. We'll talk about it another day. We'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about Patreon next week. I mean, we're obviously not big enough to do Patreon, but
No,
I
no,
have feelings
no.
towards Patreon.
Yeah,
So-
I probably feel the same way,
We'll
but
discuss.
But yeah, thank you again for Dylan coming out
course.
and
Thank
sharing his experiences with the
Yeah.
Citadel. Maybe you learned something new about the military.
I know I
Maybe,
did. I was literally just sitting here the whole time, just listening.
Yeah?
Usually I
Yeah.
talk. Me
Yeah.
and Samson both talk more, but we were just listening
I'm
to all
fine
the
just sitting
stories.
back.
Yeah,
Usually when we have guests, it's more
it
about
was a nice break just to kind of
learn
listen
and
and
see something new.
I feel like it was just interesting.
Learn
It was
about
very
a-
captivating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Learn about a life you're never probably gonna live.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. But thank you again for coming.
Yep.
If he's ever back in town, I mean, he's obviously in South Carolina, not right now, but if he's ever back sometime again, maybe we'll have him on. He'll have new stories
Yeah.
to tell. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. See ya.
Bye.